Hey, wonderful and dedicated teachers of music. This is Paula Crider coming to you from the Black Dog Ranch and Wine Tasting Emporium in Spicewood, Texas. And um, it's my assignment here to talk about two of the units that we've constructed for the Conselmer Curricular Content Pack. And I've had a lot of fun preparing this and am really lucky to be working with some very dedicated colleagues. So I hope that you find this is useful. First, I prepared a brief video on conducting, and it starts for your students with square one and posture and hand position. And I teach 3 basic conducting patterns, and it includes a recording of the first 2 movements of Greensleeves. So the objective is to give the students a brief taste of what it feels like to conduct and the opportunity to be actively involved in some hands-on conducting. Hopefully it'll make them more aware of what you are communicating from the podium, and secondly, maybe even light that fire that will cause them to aspire to follow a life of standing on the podium and follow in your footsteps and make music. And if so, I know they're going to come to you for guidance. I provided a handout for the students if you wish to use it. It's very brief. And how to use this conducting resource, simply let them watch the video and participate. It really requires no explanation. And secondly, I provided a handout which is a historical perspective of what life was like around the time that Greensleeves was written. And along with this, I prepared a slideshow so that if you want to take a deep dive into the history and share it with any portion of that with your students, this slideshow is ready to go. Because I believe that the more that students are taught and the more that students learn about the piece, the more impactful is the learning experience. And this was constructed with that in mind. I'm kind of a history nerd. And when I started out, I just thought, well, I'll just include who the composers of the time were, maybe a little about literature and perhaps art. And then it was like, well, I wonder what science was like. I wonder what they ate. I wonder what they wore. And before long, it turned into a 9-page little historical pamphlet, if you will. And you don't need to use any of it, but I hope you'll find some of it useful and interesting. No one knows who the original composer of Greensleeves was, but it was first recorded in 1580. So this historical perspective investigates a few myths about Greensleeves. Probably the most prevalent ones lasted through the ages is that Henry VIII wrote Greensleeves for Anne Boleyn. And those of you who watched The Tudors or know anything about Henry VIII, and of course he was quite the amorous king, having 6 wives. History tells us that Anne's sister succumbed to the, how can I say this politely, affections of Henry. And so then he cast her aside and decided that he was going to try to woo Anne, but she was smarter than that, and she would not give herself to him until he married her. And so some of the words sound as if he were singing to her, but alas, this is all not true. And as we know, poor Anne didn't last more than 3 years before she was beheaded. So it's a great story. And I've included also the story about the fact that it was widely believed that Lady Greensleeves was, again, to be politically correct, a lady of the evening. It was thought that she was a prostitute because some people maintain that the color green signified that was her profession. However, history also shows that that's not true, because in those days, many of the paintings of the great ladies of the manor were painted in wearing green attire, and certainly they wouldn't be so insulted if that were true. But nonetheless, it makes for interesting stories. And one thing you'll find in the slideshow is a slide about Leonardo da Vinci, who was truly a Renaissance man. And this unit is like Leonardo da Vinci. It's all about igniting an insatiable curiosity about the world and everything is in it, just as Leonardo did. So if any student wants to take a deeper dive into any of these topics, they just need to go to the endnotes at the end of the historical perspective and click on the links, and they can go right to the articles. Because I believe that more meaning will yield more meaningful music. And psychologists tell us that we connect through story. And it's story, this added meaning that can take us beyond technique to that realm of musical artistry to which we all aspire. In psychological terms, we want to translate the cognitive to the affective. And that's why including the text and letting them know what the music is about, I think can be very helpful. It's included in the historical text, and it can be easily shared with your students. And if the students can understand the love that the young man in the song has for the Lady Greensleeves, I think that they'll be able to project that feeling and that meaningfulness into the music. And Richard Saucedo's beautiful arrangement has provided a springboard for so much creativity. Students could, for example, be encouraged to write a contemporary text for the song. Can you imagine a rap version? Why not? Or find a picture that might represent the Lady Greensleeves, or even better, draw or paint the Lady Greensleeves, or have a scavenger hunt to see how many versions of Greensleeves as students can be found, and then which is their favorite. Listen to the music of the era. When I was digging into this, and I hope you'll take time to do this, this is so cool. Google Crumhorn Consort, and you will find that playing those incredible instruments, and they play them very well. It's an amazing performance. So, this is all about imagination and sparking the imagination. I'm a quoteaholic, and I found a quote by Nabokov that I think is very appropriate. Nabokov says that our imagination flies, and we are its shadow on the earth. Isn't that a great way to say it? So let your imagination ask the question, can my mind come out and play? Will your students' minds come out and play? Or, in the profound words of Elmo from Sesame Street, life is just like a huge playground. There's so many ways to have fun, and I hope you have fun with this. Good luck, my friends, and enjoy making music.